Hey worship leader, today we're going to be continuing my mini-series, my 5-part series on how I dial in the HX Stomp reverbs. Now in the last video of this series I showed you how you could dial in the glitz reverb. Now if you haven't seen that video, you can go check it out right here. Today we're going to be diving into the reverb called Ganymede, and if I remember right, I think this one was designed to sound like the Boss RV5 modulated setting. Now we're going to walk through a 3-step process when we dial in this reverb. We're going to ask the question, what does it do? What makes this reverb special? Then we're going to tame it. We're going to bring down all the parameters so that we can do step 3, which is to dial it in for each situation. We're going to bring back in only what we want. Also, it's my goal to get 3 sounds per reverb in this series. We're going to get a rhythm tone, a lead tone, and an ambient tone. So let's don't waste any more time. Let's dive in. All right, just like before, we're going to drop in the reverb just as it is and hear what it sounds like. Did you hear that when I dropped it in? I did that earlier. And I heard this sound, and then it went away. I'm going to do it again. Stereo, Ganymede. That's weird. Anyways, this is what it sounds like. Now I will say, just like in the other video, they did a really good job with this. You can just drag and drop it and play, and I think it actually sounds better stock with the stock settings than the glitz reverb did. Alright, so let's start with our step number 1 and ask, what does this reverb do? What makes it special? And I can tell just by looking at it, it's a pretty simple reverb, but this modulation setting right here is what makes this reverb unique. Everything else is pretty much standard. You got your decay, pre-delay, tone, mix, and then level. We'll turn on the trails. Let's go ahead and put our bypass control to switch foot 3, and then we can see that that turns that off and on. Oh, I'm also running the same amp as before. It is a US Deluxe with a dual cab. Alright, so let's do a quick sweep on that modulation to see exactly how it sounds. Let's pull it all the way out. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the decay and the mix all the way up, so we're just hearing the reverb to see what it does, what makes it special. That's with no modulation. Now let's see what the modulation adds to it. Alright, that's pretty cool. I did notice that when you move this modulation parameter that it gives it more of a psychedelic, very wavy sound, but it doesn't do that on any of the other settings. Like setting it all the way, it just kind of makes it wobble more, and taking it all the way out doesn't do anything. It'd be cool if you could set it to move this up and down. I'm sure there's a way you can do it, but let's just see what it does just as it is. So now that we know what makes it special, let's take everything out and start adding back in what we need for a rhythm tone. Let's pull all this out, mix all the way out, and let's hear it. It should be nothing. Also for the rhythm tone, I wanted to bring in this overdrive here. I added the heir apparent, which is one side of the king of tone pedal, if I understand it right. The prince of tone. No reverb. No reverb still. So let's start adding in the mix. Let's bring this up a little bit. 25%. Alright, we can hear that now. Let's mess with the decay. Okay, I brought it up, but it hardly got any longer. Wow, that's interesting. The decay sweep is not very wide. I mean, that's up at 83% from 0, and it sounds kind of the same. I mean, it's definitely longer, but it's not really long, all the way up. And then it goes forever. Let's do that sweep again with the tone knob all the way up. It's crazy that you can go from no decay all the way up and it not really change it much. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's do 95, 94. Alright, so for a rhythm tone, I would say let's just keep it all the way down. And let's start bringing down this tone again. We don't want it all the way off, because that's too dark, but maybe up 25%. And we can mess with the pre-delay. Let's bring that all the way up. Kind of gives it a slapback feel. But we don't need that big of a slapback for rhythm. Let's just put it all at 25%. I think that sounds pretty good for a rhythm tone. It's just kind of like a room reverb, but it still has a little bit of its unique characteristics. With it such a short tail, I don't even know if you would notice the modulation. Let's bring that all the way up. I can't really tell the difference with the modulation up or down on that one. So let's call that our rhythm tone. This is nothing. Rhythm. That sounds good. Now let's dial in our lead tone. Now for a lead tone, we're going to want to increase a lot more than this because we're going to have a lot more overdrive, we're going to have some single notes, and so we're going to want a lot more decay, a lot more mix, and probably some more tone. So let's start increasing some of those. Let's go ahead and put the mix up to 40. Let's just crank the tone all the way up, and decay, let's do 83. And since we're going to be picking a lot more, we want to crank the pre-delay up. Now let's bring the modulation in. 70% I think is where it was when we first brought it in. I'm going to go back so we can put our rhythm reverb next to our lead reverb. We can go back and forth and hear how they sound. I think that sounds pretty good as a lead tone as it is. Alright, now let's get our ambient tone. Now with an ambient tone, maybe you're doing swelling or finger picking, what you want to do is take out the pre-delay because you want your signal to come in as soon as you pick. As soon as you're swelling, you want it all there. We're not looking for any slap back. We're not really looking for the clarity of our notes as much. And so pre-delay is something we can take out. Let's start by doing that. I don't know that we want it all the way out. Let's take it all the way out. Let's crank up our decay a little bit more. We don't want it to go on forever, but we want it to go on a long time. We'll crank up the modulation on this to 8, and let's see where we are. Let's take off our overdrive. I think that sounds pretty good, but honestly I think we could do more with the mix. Now anything past 50 is going to start decreasing our tone. But that's okay. Let's go to 55 and see what that does. When we do that, it makes it super thick. And when you bump this mix up, it can kind of make it seem like your guitar's in another room. Very spacey. That sounds pretty good. I like it. That's very ambient. I bet it'll do swells as well. Let's try that. Let's add some overdrive. Kind of fun. Go back to our rhythm tone. All right, I think that sounds pretty good. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Also, let me know, do you use this reverb? Do you use the Ganymede? I hear a lot of people talking about the Glitz reverb and some of the other ones, but I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this one. I really like it, but it's not my favorite. There was a little bit of something in there that I couldn't really get rid of, but I think after we tweaked with it, it sounds pretty good. And that was the point of this series. I want this series to be able to show you guys that if you just are running the HX Stomp, you don't have an external reverb like the Jet Revelation like I have, or the Specular reverb up there. They don't really compare, but in a live setting, when you can't hear all those little details, the HX Stomp will get the job done for sure. It sounds really good. I'm excited to get to their other reverbs. I was just gonna go in order, but if you let me know down in the comments which one you want me to do first, I can do them out of order. It's no big deal. As always, if you like this video, let me know by hitting the like button. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the rest of this series. If you didn't see the first video, click the link in the description, go check that out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.